It was a holiday weekend, but nobody told buyers that apparently. And what does the market action index tell us about the rest of the year? That's what we're covering in this week's report. As always, thanks for taking a few minutes to join us for our weekly look at real-time market insights into our local housing market. My name is Scott Parker. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at John Green Realtor, and I'll be taking you through this week's findings. So we'll look at new listing activity first, and you can see just a slight drop off, which is expected for a holiday weekend, but not quite as dramatic as the decrease from last year's holiday weekend. Let's go over and look at the demand side. So here's under contract activity. And after a noticeable decline last week that really had our attention, we bounced right back with a strong week. So that was really, really good to see in terms of demand viability as we head into the summer. Here's showing activity, which is a great forward-looking indicator of demand. And as expected for Memorial Day weekend, you see that traffic dropped off. But interestingly, it's now kind of on that same trajectory as last year at this time. And at this point last year, interest rates were on the rise, and the real heated kind of post-COVID run was kind of officially declared over. So I would anticipate that barring some major economic shift, the rest of this year should behave very similar to the second half of 2022 in terms of showing activity. So we'll watch that as we go into the summer. This graph depicts balance in the market. 60% is what we kind of mark as normal. 100 is what we would consider way out of balance. And this number bounced back up quite a bit because of that strong contract activity week relative to the amount of new listings that we saw. And so on this graph, same kind of graph, but we add in off-market activity so we can see the total number of listings on the market relative to the total number that left. And you can see the same trend appearing here. We have not looked at the market action index metric yet in this weekly report series, but it is a great one to track. So basically, the market action index takes into account how inventory is moving with a higher number on the graph depicting more of a seller's market. I included this graph this week because the index has moved steadily up through the spring, but it does appear to be leveling out, which corresponds with where the high water mark was from last year as well. So I don't anticipate that decline to be as steep as last year. I would expect it to be more gradual, but it's good to know that seasonality is in effect. And from here on out, sellers do need to be a little bit more prudent with their pricing and marketing strategy. And really any seller on the fence or preparing their home for market that their goal is to maximize price, this graph is a good indicator that time is of the essence. You'll want to jump into the market here sooner rather than later when some of those seasonality metrics come into play. So to recap for this week, contract activity bounced back even during a holiday weekend, and the market action index does appear to be peaking. So market remains fairly rapid, but the high water mark for sellers is upon us, and things will gradually cool from here if that traditional seasonality holds. As always, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.